everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about why we forget things. Everyone thinks it has to do with age. That's not what it's about. The human will say it's age, and that's why I can't remember. But we've all had those things that we just kind of will go through an experience, whether it be we were married to someone, we had a certain job, we lived in a certain place, and we leave, and everything about that place kind of fades away. Like you don't even remember it. Remembering that time feels like a zillion years ago, yet in some way it kind of feels like yesterday, but you're so far from it, you can't remember anything about it. And you really can't feel it. That's how I kind of, and probably more for me lately, is you can't even feel what it was like. Like it's just like it's not there anymore. So think about it from a couple of different perspectives. When we're in a third dimensional state of consciousness, we experience this too, right? But it's a longer period of time for us to kind of forget. And that's not because we're doing anything wrong in a sense. It's because we don't shift realities as quick as when we're in a higher state of consciousness. When you're operating from a higher state of consciousness, a five-dimensional state or above, even a fourth dimensional state and above, you tend to shift faster. So whereas before you might have noticed, so that's why it appears that you used to have more memories before. It's just your consciousness changes. You shift frequencies, but you don't shift quite as fast when you're operating from, I don't like higher and lower, but just to explain it, you're in a lower state of consciousness, so you're not shifting quite as quick. That's why it feels like it takes longer to forget something. Because you're really shifting realities. So that reality you have when you're with that person in that certain space, had that certain job, you shift into a different reality. So all those memories go because they're attached to a different reality, which you don't live in anymore. It's not part of your reality. It's gone. So when it's gone, can't remember it. Now you will be able to get those memories back if you need to pull on them for something. Like if I need to pull on them to teach something, they'll come back in. They're kind of hanging around your energetic field. So they're still kind of there. They're just not in your body in a sense. They're completely gone. It's a totally different reality you're no longer attached to. So people think they start losing more memories when they get older. They just shifted so far from that reality, they can't remember it anymore. But that does speed up. The more you expand your consciousness, you're gonna find that you're gonna forget things faster. And what was just yesterday feels like forever. I know I moved like a year ago. I go back to where I used to live. Feels like I never lived there. I lived there for 10 years. Feels like I was never there. I can't remember hardly anything about it. It is the most surreal thing. And I'm like, wow, it's like I was never here. And it's funny because I bet most people wouldn't even remember me ever being there. Because you shift, they're in a different reality than you are, and they don't remember you. Now, there's another point I wanted to make. Oh, I got it. I almost forgot it. It was in a different reality. And that's also why we tend to forget dreams, and then when we experience something similar to the dream, we remember the dream because it's at a different frequency. The dream's at a different frequency. So until we hit that frequency in our waking state, we don't remember it. It's all about the frequency you're in. All these things are at a certain frequency. That's why they come in and out. People come in and out. You're at a certain frequency, certain people come in because they're at that frequency. If you're at a different one, you don't see these people. It is a very surreal thing when you start to play with your frequency to see what comes in and what comes out. It's like when you go back to a place and it used to feel really big to you. It could be a place you used to live, a place you used to work, a restaurant. Doesn't really matter. It felt huge because energetically you felt smaller. And the more energetically you expand, the place now feels smaller because you kind of, people say you kind of outgrew it. You energetically outgrew it. You got bigger. The place didn't. So now I would go into places that used to feel huge to me and they feel small to me. So it's kind of a frequency thing. It's not a memory thing. So anyone who thinks they're losing their mind, you kind of are, but it's a good thing. You're supposed to. That stuff you're not supposed to remember, that way you can't really carry it with you either. All that stuff's done. We move on and we create something else. What are we going to create now? But don't be doing a freak out when you can't remember. And try to remember. Because if you try to remember, you're going to try to tether yourself back to an old reality. Tether yourself to something you outgrew. And that's not what we want to do. We want to just let the memories go. Our mind, our human wants to understand what's happening. That's fine. It's all exactly how it's supposed to be. So forget, and be glad you forgot. And keep practicing the art of intuition.